Now, there is one or two more significant events. The first one, Bob, yes, please come up. Invite Bob up now to launch the environmental scan. Oh, we'll shut that.
This will be riveting stuff after Fiona's delivery. But Fiona, we did meet Ted Egan in Alice Springs, and also I invested in a film he was going to make called The Drover's Boy, and I asked him that was many years ago when I was in Alice Springs before that, and he took me to the set that they'd built to make the filming, and obviously it didn't come off, but I asked him how my shares were going in the movie, and he politely said they weren't, and I wasn't getting my money back. So a fine gentleman and somebody who obviously been around the Northern Territory for a long time and one of the icons of the Northern Territory, and it'd be a privilege to be his friend. I'll just go on with this launch of our eScan. Every year, part of our consultation process for the scan of the industry, really it's the state of the industry document that we put together over the year. It's really predicting, it's what's happened in the past, but also predicting what's going to happen in the future, where we need to concentrate our resources for training, and also what affects our training. Some of the issues that Christine brought up about the involvement of women in our industry is something that I would like to try and include in next year's Environment Scan, and have a separate section for that in the energy industries, and that's something that we'll endeavour to include, but we need networks to be able to do that. I'd like to try and work with SALT to try and put together a proper consultative network for the women in the industries. But some of the issues that face us is really, if you look at the attack on vocational education training funding through the states, has been reduced like crazy, and that will affect what we do for future work skills, and also for future personnel in our industry. That affects all aspects of our industry. The demographic of our industry is, if you look at me, I'm probably one of the younger TAFE teachers that ever existed. And also there's a real shortage of people who come back to the industry to pass on their skills as far as mentors go. So we need to encourage that mentoring program that's funded by the federal government at this point in time. The challenge will be when the federal government money runs out, how we sustain that model. Our apprenticeship progression project is groundbreaking apprenticeship competency-based merit model that we talked about earlier. We've been privileged to be able to pick that up as a traditional, heavily regulated trade. The federal government has thrown a lot of resources in to change the culture of apprenticeships from time-based to competency-based, and also for flexible delivery for individuals to be able to progress at the rate that suits those individual needs, and also the demographics of the person involved. Over 43% of our apprentices now are over the age of 20. So those implications, we are not talking about 15-year-old indentured apprentices back in the 19th century anymore. We're talking about 20-year-old mature people. A lot of people, second chance type people who have tried another qualification or vocation, but have moved on and doing something. And I think there was examples of that today. That is a challenge facing our industry, that the old model of time-based and not merit-based apprenticeship will go, and we need to be at the forefront of that. And luckily enough, the government has selected us to champion that cause. It's something that's really exciting for us. It'll change the culture of apprenticeships in Australia, and our industry's been selected to do that, which is, I think, it's a feather in our cap. Some of the other issues that face us are our new technologies that are challenging us all the time. We've got a Certificate 3 electricians qual. There's over 26,000 apprentices at any one time in Australia, and around about 110, 115,000 electricians. That competencies that are inside those qualifications are being challenged every time, particularly at the AQF levels that they're at now. We traditionally focusing or are forced to focus our trade qual at Cert 3 level. If you look at what goes into a Cert 3 electrician's qual now, it is more appropriate that it's a diploma or up to an advanced diploma, that given the physics and maths that are required. What holds us back are industrial issues, and from both sides of the industrial spectrum, Cert 3 will remain with us until those two parties come to an agreement on what level they're at. Obviously, the higher the qualification, there are huge industrial implications, and there's got to be a lot of thought put into how that's solved. But as far as rigour and training and the requirements of our qualification, it is certainly not a Cert 3 level, it is much higher. However, all is not doom and gloom. We are supplying skills across Australia. There's a huge movement of skills into radio technology, communications, into remote maintenance, satellite fault finding. All those things are being pushed into the electrician sphere. In gas, the new coal seam gas boom, and also the new LNG plants are forcing gas companies to put on apprentices. Traditionally very poor in training as far as structured training, but now are starting to move towards good structured national qualifications. Generation the same, their workforce, the generation operations section, their average age is around about 55 to 60. Now they're the people that control what goes into these buildings, how the networks source their power. And without some sort of training, particularly national type training, our generator plants would switch off. And traditionally it's been in-house. Because of the risks involved in in-house training now that workplace health and safety issues are involved, they are tending to lead towards national qualifications. And that does protect the industries, particularly when it comes to any sort of accidents, both environmentally and safety accidents. So these things are facing us. We're one of the industries that's growing at 3 times the rate of any other industry, particularly the request for personnel and also for skills. And it's something that we need women involved in because, as I say again, 51% of our population is untapped. If you look at 2% of the population of women is available to us at the moment for their skills. And we wouldn't have a skills shortage if we got that percentage up around 30%. It's just common maths. If we had 30% of women taking up our trade, then we wouldn't have a skills shortage. And it's something that we need to address, and we need to address it well. I'd like to try and set up a network of women's consultative groups, but I like the idea of it being combined. I think it's important that for things to happen, it has to be a combined approach, and I'd undertake that EOS will set that up and invite people to be part of that network, and we'll do that in the next 3 to 4 months. I'd like to think there'd be a separate section in the environmental scan that focuses on women's issues and also on the success of these consultative committees for the industry. But my job today really is to launch this. This is an important document for our industry. It quarantines money for training for our industry. It's what governments use for deciding on resources that go into our industry for training and also for new technologies. And I'd like to launch this on behalf of our board. John Sampson is a board member here at the moment. John, if you'd like to stand up. John is representing our board here today, and I'm sure John would endorse us in launching this Enviro scan for 2013, and hopefully we've got it right. But as far as we're concerned, we really look forward to your involvement in the next one, and thank you for coming. And you've got some with champagne, yeah, on the table, and let's hope maybe we toast the success of this Enviro scan for 2013. Thank you.